Right, I'm going to start with an introduction to our presenter today, Michael Lee. He's the Technical Manager for the Tasmanian Timber Campaign. Mick has nearly 40 years of experience in the timber industry, focusing on quality control, testing, timber technical properties and research, timber production and systems. He was the Senior Technical Officer at the Centre for Sustainable Architecture with Wood at the University of Tasmania for 11 years and continues to hold consulting roles with timber processors across Tasmania. He works with us also to answer the technical helpline for the Tasmanian Timber Campaign. So the 1300 number on the homepage of our website. Mick is who you get on the other end of the line. So an incredible resource whenever you're trying to specify timber and need some support. He's a certified project professional and obviously very passionate about promoting the use of Tasmanian timber in the built environment. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Mick, and Mick's going to introduce our other presenters today as he works through the presentation. Enjoy.
Thanks, Claire. G'day, guys. Today we're talking about Blackwood, Myrtle and Celery top pine. Is it affordable? Is it available? And is it sustainable? And the answer is yes to all of those, but we'll work our way through it and have a bit more of a discussion. If you've got any questions that you could pop up on chat, Claire will endeavour to answer them on the spot with the guys, or we'll, come back to you ASAP. Okay, today we've got some lovely pictures. We've got Nathan Kotlareski from Hydrowood. Nathan's had a long association with both UTAS, Hydrowood and Cusp for a little while. And also Luke McGee, who's one of the top salesmen at Britain's Tasmania. Luke's a lot of expertise in this field, especially, the Blackwood and minor species and veneer. So without any further ado, guys, we'll jump into it. We've got two availabilities. We've got terrestrial, which means, the stuff that's coming from the STT estate and reclaimed from the depths of Lake Pyman and other hydro lakes. Must be noted, though, both are harvested under the relevant forestry acts with PEFC chain of custody, which is important. Certification is key to buying minor species. Hydrowood, reclaimed material from the lake managed by Hydro Tasmania. Special timbers are recovered and milled for high performance architectural applications, including Blackwood, Celery top pine and Myrtle, as well as other species like, minor amounts of leatherwood and white sassafras and that, much the same as Britons have from the terrestrial. Some beautiful artefacts as well from this material. Terrestrial, Britain Timbers process timber from the public forest responsibly managed by STT, and I think this needs to be made very clear. Blackwood grows in the swamps and lowlands of Tassie's northwest and is managed on a 70-year rotation, and only just over 30% of it at maximum is in the rotation. So it's only a small amount of the available that's ever in the rotation. And it's available as well as Blackwood, Myrtle, Celery top pine, sassafras veneers, the BritainTimbers.com, or I'm sure Luke will be able to give you a phone number to call and jump in and have a talk to him, especially about veneers. Sustainability's been a key question, and the question on sustainability from STT, they have a special timber strategy which is on their website. You can go in and have a look at this detail. There is, especially Blackwood, there is a rather large document on there that's worth reading if you're at all interested. It's sustaining the resource, commitment to periodic sustainable yield estimates for Blackwood forests. So it's not a one hit. We did it once, we've forgotten about it. It's constantly under review. And it's all about maximising the value recovery. The implementation of feature grade specifications for non-saw logs in special timber to assist in its recognition and recovery. That means that some of the logs that wouldn't come up in a Tassie oak coop are still milled in the minor species and still value added to, and they go to a lot of different areas for a lot of different products. They also promote the chain of custody certification, which again I will say is important. If you have a look at both these companies, they have PEFC through Responsible Wood, and Responsible Wood are very clear on legally, ethically, morally, and sustainably logging material, especially out of this STT estate. We've got a plethora of technical resources on the website on Blackwood, Celery, Top Pine, and Myrtle. Everything you need to know or want to know is on there. If there's something that's not on there, please give us a call on the 1300 number. We'll come back to you. We'll find out what it is and look at it. Also, we have the FWPA site. The Tassie site's specifically driven to the Tasmanian product, so it's a bit more niche. It's a bit more focused. It has all the workabilities on Blackwood, all the general technical data's on there. We also have things like Blackwood Moisture Meter cards. We have how to use it. Most importantly, as in the last webinar, the FWPA fire testing certificates. The Blackwood, Celery, Top Pine, and Myrtle are all listed. You need to work your way through it. If you have any questions, come back to either me, Nathan, or Luke. We can all show you where they are in the documentation. They are actually listed, unlike the Tas Oak, they are actually listed under Celery, Top Pine, Blackwood, and Myrtle. So quite easy to find, and they come in a whole range of areas: flooring, linings, walls, extensions, the whole gamut's on there. And this is updated every few years by FWPA, so it's a very current certificate. So if there's any questions on the fire, please shoot them on the website to us. All right, Blackwood. Again, I'll drag Luke into this. So, deeply admired by furniture makers, best known wattles, Blackwood has easily worked. Premium, synonymous with style, which sometimes gives the connotation that it's synonymous with an exceedingly high price. And if you'd like to jump in there, Luke, and just tell us, is it available? What have you got?
Absolutely, Nick. So Blackwood is readily available. We have really good stocks of both veneer and solids at our mills in northwest Tasmania. Pricing, it's the common misconception is that it's premium pricing and likely outside most people's budget, but realistically, when you get in and you actually quote the material, you'll probably see it's reasonably cost effective, especially when you compare it to some similar color tone mainland hardwoods. So yeah, it's absolutely perfect for furniture, flooring, all sorts of joinery applications, stairs, lining, etc., etc. So yeah, the list goes on. The world is your oyster with the material.
It surely is, Luke, and
I'm
beautiful.
starting to see through a lot of architects as well that it's really coming back into vogue.
Yeah, yeah, it is coming back into vogue. I'll agree with you on that. And I think the variability in it, as you can see from that tabletop, and we'll have a look at a few more things, it makes it unique. Every piece is unique. And if you look at something like the Stillwater application, into a super high value application, it's just gorgeous, isn't it?
Absolutely beautiful.
All right, we've got a short video here that we'd just like to play. This is from Spence and Leiter, and it's materials made by John Goulder for the Innate collection. I think it just really sets the tone on why people want to use Blackwood and where it's at. Hark back. If you need a quote on this, go to Luke or Nathan and look at getting a quote, because it does compare very favourably with a lot of the multicoloured woods coming out of the New South Wales, Queensland, and just a beautiful, rich timber.
We are innately drawn to organic things. They do feed your soul, they feed your spirit. Beautiful pieces of wood, pieces of metal, the kind of the shine on a woven piece of fabric as it catches the light, The home has so much that it can nurture us with. And so we created Innate originally with those ideas in mind. pieces that are strong and functional and don't tap dance in a space, but just gently do their job with a real appreciation for materiality and simplicity was what we wanted. And so we're really proud to launch the dining table. It's a thing of real beauty. Even though it's deceptively simple, creating simplicity is harder than one would imagine.
Timber that we've used predominantly in the new iteration of Innate is Tasmanian Blackwood. We've simply oiled the timber and kept it as natural as we can to celebrate the natural beauty of the timber. And we've been using Tasmanian Blackwood and Tasmanian Oak, and we'll continue to do so because it's been received in the marketplace well, it works incredibly well, and it's beautiful. Innate is trying to be as environmentally sustainable as possible. It also delivers an economic sustainability using local manufacturers, local suppliers. Everything we do is local, and then we deliver it to a local market. So it stimulates growth in the economy, which is really important, I think, for Australia and Australian design and manufacture.
Okay. This is one of the exciting ones for me, Luke. The VJ panel, the Touchwood. Would you like to talk our people through this?
Yeah, absolutely, Mick. So, Touchwood, as Mick mentioned, is a panel. So it's essentially a system intended for wall and ceiling applications. To the best of my knowledge, it's the only lining system on the market that is actually faced with a natural timber veneer, as opposed to a laminate or purely a painted panel. So this material, we offer it in a variation of lengths, and it's for the specifiers for you guys particularly that are listening. We do recommend that if you do have say a rake ceiling or variations in wall height, to go off the longer sheet, so that way we can ensure color consistency. Due to the nature of the veneering process, we dock our logs to the length of essentially to the length of the finished veneer that we process that into. So if you've got a mix of 2.4 meters to say 3 meters, we do recommend you use the longest and dock back, purely to ensure that color consistency. So Touchwood is really important for our business. So we're the last 0 point of origin mill left in Australia. So that's everything from slicing the material to the end user product. So we're the last mill in the country that does it from A to Z. So for us, this is a really important string to our bow that we can offer a finished system, if you like, to the market, and particularly that it's in our 2 staple species that we produce here in Tasmania. So it's available in Blackwood, as you can see, and we also produce it in a Tas Oak variant. So one really important thing that I really express to the public is it's a great way to extend the resource. So you're likely to get 40 times the area coverage from the same volume of actual timber in a project. So best way to describe that is if you're using, say, a 12 mil lining board, you'll cover 1 wall in a project. Whereas if you use the same volume of timber pressed onto the panels as a Touchwood, you can cover the whole room, and that way you can ensure color consistency through your project as well.
It's a beautiful product, Luke, and I must admit it caught me a couple of times because it's very hard to tell it from the natural VJ product. Yeah, it's really been well put together and such a sustainable use, such a spread using this material and such a product.
It's definitely something the business is very proud of.
Yeah, for sure. Should be too. Board products, as you can see, great for lining, ceiling, stairs, you name it. Interestingly, as you can see, widely used in bathrooms. So, it'll handle wet areas. Yeah, in all facets, and there's a lot of materials and a lot of products from Chroma, etc. Made with Blackwood. So it is one of those feature timbers that is multi-use. Do you like to just talk through the crown cut, quarter cut mismatched?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, Blackwood is predominantly in solids, so it's back sawn, which throws up a crown look appearance through the solid timber. So we match that with our veneer as well, predominantly as a crown cut veneer, which we do as a usually as a book match finish. We also cut our veneer in a quarter cut, so purely at the market behest. Um, so we can offer the full suite of cuts across the species, and then mismatch. Mismatch is actually my preferred favorite. So it breaks up the it can feel somewhat manufactured if you do a slip match, which is two leaves repetitively stuck together, and book match, which obviously the picture number one there, which throws up again similar repetitive look images, whereas a mismatch, it's a mix of three, four, maybe five different veneer leaves from different logs, if you like, and they get stitched together to throw up more of a natural, similar to solid boards. Say if you're getting a table manufacturer or a bench top, it's more reminiscent of that. But again, it's purely at the behest of the market as to which one we need to supply to projects. So yeah, it's up to you specifiers at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the specifiers do have the choice. They do have the opportunity, and I'm totally with you. I mean, the mismatch in both that and the Tas Oak are definitely my favourites. There's a better picture. Again, but the mismatch, it looks like we've just joined six boards together, and it's how you'd see a tabletop. So, what a beautiful thing. But again, what a huge sustainable stretch of the resource. Always available. Talk to Luke. Talk to the guys. I've never seen them knock back anyone going into to Somerset to have a look and direct what they want into a product. So it's pretty exciting. Again, though, remember that there are solids available from both terrestrial and from hydro wood out of the lakes. This is just an extension on that. Fiddleback Blackwood at the Seed House, beautiful. James Fitzpatrick's own house. There's a mixture of celery top pine ceilings. There's spruce CLT and GLTs in there, but if you have a look at the front of that kitchen bench with that fiddleback, it's just a stunning and beautiful visual. Again, it's available, only available in small amounts, but still available. This is the Chroma product we were talking about. As you can see, the handles and knobs are all made out of Blackwood. Totally suitable for the for wet areas. Commercial applications. This is one of Tasmania's own in Hobart, My State Bank Arena. Philip Lighton Architects. There's a lot of Britain's veneer on those walls. So, we're again stretching the resource. And if I'm not incorrect, Luke, there was a lot of solids into this job as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of solids in this room in particular. There's some large columns in the middle of the room which had solid timber battens fixed. And throughout the rest of the project, there was a lot of solid timber Tas Oak applications.
So again, it is available. It is sustainably sourced. This STT, the 70 years, the less than 30%, their willingness to actually be open about it. And, the reports are available on their website. We will actually probably put a link up to that as well. So you can actually go straight to it and have a look at it. Again, PEFC by Responsible Wood, everything is certified. Luke can, and we have chased back material back to the coop level out of trials we've been doing. So we know that it's all there and all in place and it's all externally audited. Okay, celery top pine. Celery top pine's interesting because it's one of the only Tasmanian timbers that fits into every category. indoor, outdoor, and wet applications. And I just asked Nathan to just have a talk about Macquarie House, which was one of Hydrowood's first forays into a large section of celery top battens.
Yeah, thank you, Mick. Welcome, everybody. The Macquarie House extension in Launceston is kind of like a naturally Tasmanian promotional piece, if you will. And at Hydrowood and many other businesses that have provided celery top to the market pride themselves on the exterior use of this product. This wood is as good as the day it went in, and it's naturally class 2 durability, so it weathers really well. It is a beautiful blonde white timber that naturally grays over time, and really stands the test of time, as we've proven, having found a lot of this material that's been submerged for decades in Lake Pyman.
Yeah, that's true, Nathan. Also, I don't know if you could just talk about briefly the amount of celery top that you've supplied to the new TT line boats for interior and exterior.
Yeah, so the cladding on the obviously the new Spirits is on the level 5 and 6 deck where the bars are. So do go and check those out if you're lucky enough to get on the boat at some stage. Even used in marine environments, again, will naturally grey over time and really just great dimensional stability and withhold that exterior exposure to the elements.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing for me too in this Macquarie House is when you look at that wall, it looks solid, but they're actually shutters that open to windows. So, it's a beautiful piece of design as well as anything else.
Yeah, quite versatile in its applications, and here's another example of it used as a lining.
Yeah.
You can get some rather beautiful features in this material, but typically it is a rather straight-grained, blonde, white timber that is just actually gorgeous, and really comes into its golden age or shows its golden characteristics when it's exposed to these kind of sunlight environments as well. So it does naturally grey, but it does have these golden tones and hues in its application as well.
Yeah, especially inside under natural light, it does yellow.
Yeah.
It does change and does vary. It definitely does, but it does grey beautifully. And I know some people have used accelerants and on that under eaves and that's worked very well, but it's just the durability of it that really makes it. Now, can we buy it, guys? I know you have stock, Nathan, and you have stock in sizes and linings. What do you actually make out of it?
Look, we typically favour the exterior applications for this resource, obviously given its properties. So we really want to hero that exterior use and the durability that it provides. It is typically in a 19 mil cladding. It can be used as a 15 mil lining internally, and right up to larger sections of a 35 mil batten used on exterior envelopes. So it's quite a range. Do talk to us, speak to us about your project. We have some really good drying techniques here that allow us to have, manage the way in which this dries for certain applications. And so, yeah, we have that range from narrow boards right through to thicker cross sections for exterior applications.
Okay, Luke, I know you have a section of celery top as well. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, so here in terrestrial stock, we've got pretty much we've got ranges of sawn timber, primarily intended for joinery. We have some ranges of boat grade timber, so the absolute pristine and clearest material you can get for the marine sector, and volumes of internal lining as well, predominantly 12 mil.
And the one thing I do know about Britons is that they're very selective on that boat material and who it goes to, and it goes to the right application. So, yeah, it's a credit to the team up there that they actually, put it to the right areas. Lining products again, you can see the yellowing, and it's beautiful. Changes the whole look, changes the whole structure. Again, brilliant in wet areas. the sauna boat. And no, sadly, I haven't seen it. But, Nathan,
We've
again,
had some large inquiries for sauna applications for Celery, for right through from the envelope to the interior, and have had some really good feedback on it. So it's it can be graded to have a bit more of a natural feature, but as Luke mentioned, we do have some clearer stock. It really comes down to the requirements of the client or the design. But yeah, it seems to be going really well in these sauna applications.
and again, guys, the price is not as bad as you would think. No, that's probably the wrong terminology. It's better than you think. So please do talk to either Britons or Hydrowood, and you might be very much surprised against other products in the market that can actually withstand and show this natural beauty. Furniture and joinery, again, beautiful. These fascias on this thing, again, in a wet area. The picture on the right's from one of the John Goulder innate pieces. Just a gorgeous piece of work.
And the workability on this material is phenomenal. Anything with a sharp cutter is going to give you a mirror finish on such a beautiful straight grained resource. So
Yeah. It's quite hard too, Nathan, I expect.
yeah, it is. It's a good wearing timber. It's not. It's definitely harder than radiata pine. Not to make that comparison, but yeah, it is. It is on par with the hardwoods.
Yeah, I've seen a few floors and that done out of it that have stood up very well. Again, available through Britain Timbers and through Hydrowood as veneer. And now here's one of my favourites, Myrtle. And Myrtle's interesting because I have been in the game for 40 odd years. A lot of the houses and that in Tasmania up to the 1950s and 60s have Myrtle floors, as do a lot of the commercial applications from the late 1800s through, including places like the Albert Hall. The colour palette, as you can see from that picture, is exceedingly wide and it works exceedingly well as flooring. So Nathan, would you like to tell us I know you have some of this product and you're making huge inroads into the market in Victoria with it.
Yeah, look, as far as the applications of Myrtle go, you're right, Mick. Myrtle has been around for a very long time, centuries, and has been used traditionally because of its natural lubrication. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but it's actually rather a well lubricated timber for manufacturing conveyor belts historically. And then it's come into flooring, and that's not to suggest that it's a slippery floor. It's just that in its natural form, it has rather versatile
Self-oiling.
applications. Yeah, self-oiling. Thank you, Mick. The color hues go from a light pink to a dark rose red, and then you get some beautiful kind of grey and blue stripes or feature or burls, whatever they may be. The color variation and the gradients are just phenomenal in this material, and I don't think pictures do it justice. To see it in its real application, to see it in hand or standing on it is absolutely it's just enlightening.
Yeah, it's definitely stunning. Again, it's sustainably logged. The terrestrial is managed by STT through the same process as the Blackwood and the Celery top pine. There's limited amounts available, but still commercial amounts from both companies. And I know Luke will speak to that in a minute. As I say, I know Hydrowood are doing lining and flooring out of it. Do you do anything else, boards or anything?
Yes, mate. We do supply a lot of Myrtle to furniture and joinery manufacturers as well. We've even supplied some slabs and other things. But as far as ratios go of our resource, Myrtle is a top contender of our supply to market.
Out of the Lake Pyman. That's interesting.
That's correct. Yeah.
And I presume that's to do with elevation and the topography.
Absolutely. The topography and the geography of that area in that wet Myrtle rainforest. Having been there last week, just when you stand on the banks of this lake and you look up at these giant Myrtle rainforests, it's just such an amazing resource. And to be on the water and see the tops of these trees and realize just how large they actually are, there's quite a significant volume of this resource available.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting point you bring up because it is a true reclaim of virgin timber out of those lakes.
Yes,
Other
that's
than
right.
that, they're going to turn into a rotted product over years. And I was also interested when I spoke to some of the people down there that the effect of the water has allowed them to, have logs sitting on the landing for extended periods of time with no rot or anything. It's quite phenomenal.
Yeah, despite what people say, it's not warm and sunny on the West Coast most of the time. So most of the resources there are well preserved in their cold, cooler climates, particularly in the tannin stained darker waters where UV doesn't penetrate or degrade the timber.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yep. So the hydrowood's remit is to maximise the best out of the lake, no matter what the species.
yeah, absolutely. We don't know what we get until we pull it up. So it's a bit of a claw machine without seeing the candy at the end. And when it pulls up and you see this bright red myrtle or this lovely yellow sassafras or a white golden greeny celery or a golden greeny sassafras, it's never a dull moment.
All under the Australian Forestry Standard, all under PFC, and all with full chain of custody, very much like
Absolutely.
Britain's terrestrial. Yep. Again, brilliant in wet areas, and equally the same as Blackwood. Workability is great. It's
Yeah.
it's an interesting shot, isn't it? The electric toothbrush, but the reality is it does make beautiful furniture.
Mhm.
Luke, I'll get you to jump back in and talk about the veneers. I know you guys do a fair bit of Myrtle and have a lot of Myrtle boards in stock.
Yeah, absolutely. So across our ranges, we've got large volumes of joinery application timber, so rough sawn timbers. We also carry lines of overlay flooring and wall lining profiles. And it's actually one of those materials that in a recent project in Tasmania was real industry collaboration between terrestrial Britain's timber and some hydrowood material as well in a high profile project. So it's a beautiful example of what the industry can achieve together. Across veneers, generally we send the very best of the very best logs to be veneered. So we have volumes of highly figured flame myrtle there, for example, that comes through the mill, and we have that in stock. Um, it's one of the species that I tend to not get a great deal of inquiries for, and I feel the main reason is the specifiers don't think it's available anymore. But we're here to say it's there and it's available in volume, and yeah, just reach out and go through the motions.
I'm glad you brought up about the collaboration, mate, because the reality is a beautiful looking product like this, available either terrestrial or from hydrowood, will all come through Britain's veneers. So, we've also got the other special species. And again, I think it's not getting as much play as it could because people just don't realise that this piece of kit, and I'm really not sure how old it is, but I know it's in perfect working condition. Again, you highlighted it's the last one left in Australia.
Last commercial one.
Yep. Sarah Haberley, I've designed Frank hand selecting Blackwood veneers for a Bernie Kitchen project. And I know Drew and the team up there are very happy to walk designers and that through. And again, no lack of this material. Last time I was up there, I had a look at some of the flame myrtle with some Japanese, and it was astounding. It was just unbelievable. Brody Neal's table. Now this is a I don't know if this was a collaboration you were talking about, but this showed itself in the London furniture exhibitions. It won multiple prizes. It's made up of small pieces of veneer from Britain's veneer with the timber coming from hydrowood. It is a truly unique piece of art. Yeah, and that's the only way I can describe it.
It's a reclaimed resource and a reclaimed manufacturing. It double ticks on that one.
It does double tick, and it's darn beautiful. So yeah, again, veneers, beautiful. There's one I tried to find, but I couldn't find it, which was a Blackheart Sassafras one from St. Luke's, and that I know Luke supplied. It's in there in large wall sections, and again, a brilliant stretch of the resource. Again, sustainably, ethically, morally, but most importantly, sustainably logged with a very clear path and a very transparent set of criteria from STT. Blackheart Sassafras. I know hydrowood don't have a lot of it because of the elevation of the lake, but Luke, I presume you still have some?
In veneer, we have still got an abundant volume, but in solids, it's getting harder to come by, that's for sure. I've got an abundance of select sassafras, but the Blackheart version, yeah, it's getting hard to get in solids.
But interestingly, still available, still affordable in veneers,
Veneers.
which is a great stretch of a very diminishing resource. Yeah.
Correct. That's the prime example of the perfect use of a veneer, extending that finite resource.
Yep. And it is beautiful. It is a magnificent looking product. Yeah, this shot here, and I've seen this sheet. This is unbelievable when you see it in real life.
We've dubbed that one wild.
Yeah. This is what we normally see, and this is what you'd normally see in boards of this tonal variance. So again, as I say, credit to Britons for actually stretching this resource out so it's actually used, but it is available. It is in commercial quantities. Tas oak veneers. Again, I'll let Luke run through this. We've just put this in. I know it's slightly off topic, but while we're talking veneers.
Tas oak veneer is our most sought after veneer that we process through the mill. We can't keep up with orders. It's absolutely outstanding. The industry appetite for the material, and the most commonly sought after is a clear slip match Tas oak. But as Mick and I touched on earlier, item 2 there, photo number 2, it's a mismatch veneer. Characteristics of gum vein, tight knots, throws up more of a natural look in a finished project. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing. There's some very high profile projects here in Tasmania that have been decked out in Tas oak veneer. Recently, the Forest that opened in Hobart, and UTAS Library in Launceston, just to name a couple. So
yeah, if you jump onto the Tas Timber website, all those inspirational shots, especially from the UTAS build at River's Edge, and as you say, the new forest building, which used part of Robert Morris Nunn's original dome in it, the old forestry building, has got a real amount of natural biophilic timber in it, in both veneer and solids. Yeah, I'm with you, Luke. This is the one that I like. Silver wattle's interesting. I know Hydra would pull up a bit of silver wattle, but not very large amounts, Nathan.
Yeah, it's another one of those. We're really excited when we see it, but we don't see it very often. I
So,
think perhaps it maybe to do with the durability, or again in that rainforest area hasn't stood the test of time, Mick.
yeah. Luke, I know you've got some in veneers.
we have veneer and solid, so we do
Oh,
have
and solid.
both available.
Yep.
And there's commercial quantities of logs available to be processed. If the relevant project ever came across the table.
Again, I think it's a case of people don't know it's available, don't know it's sustainably and ethically logged. And, that's what we're trying to actually get forward here, that, this product is in commercial quantities and it is at an affordable price. Oh, plantation hardwood quarter cut. Luke.
The way of the future. There's large volumes of plantation hardwoods in Tasmania. We're processing more and more annually, and we do see that increasing as we move forward. It's certified as well as all the rest of our timbers are. As you can see from this image, is Beautiful, clear, pale blonde. The world is your oyster with this material. Available in wide range of solids, and we're also dabbling in the overlay flooring market as well as large volumes of lining.
I have heard that you have some furniture makers looking at it at the moment, and that'll be some photos and some renders of that'll be available soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the timber industry as a whole, it's a species that it's again going back to collaboration. We all need to promote. So we've recently had some furniture made, and it's going to have a photo shoot. Believe it's next week. Is that correct? And yeah, we're very excited to see how the promotion goes and to get it out there for everyone to see how beautiful this timber really is.
Yep. So keep your eye on the Tas Timber website. It'll come up as one of the news stories. But again, Luke's quite right. It is the future. It will become a large part of the eucalypt cut. Um, yeah, and it's beautiful. It is the last pure blonde. Radiata, well, we do use it. People still want it, and it is available. Okay. Again, let's hit back to Touchwood, Luke, and some of the Tas oak and that things. Again, if you can just quickly run us through that again. What's it come? It's an MDF backed product. It's
Yeah, correct. So the substrate that the veneer is adhered to is a moisture resistant MDF. It's available in either your traditional tan colored MDF, or we also offer it in a black core MDF. And the beauty of the black core MDF, it obviously pops on the V joints, and also anywhere where you cut that panel, it is black all the way to the edge. So you don't have to worry about color inconsistencies when you cut around windows and doors, etc. It's available in the two species that at this stage, Tas Oak and Tas Blackwood. But that said, with you guys being the specifiers, we would be open to producing custom runs in various species. It's available in a number of resellers Australia-wide. Various size sheets ranging from 2,400 sheets all the way up to as big as a 3,600 sheet in the natural tan colored MDF or a 3 meter in the black.
yeah. Look, while it sounds like a bit of a sales pitch, mate, it is a brilliant stretch of the resource. It is available. It is a system that's new and it's exciting. So you know, kudos for Britons for getting it out there. Okay, so we're coming very close to the end. Further resources, Tas Timber, we have a newsletter, the website, socials. Don't forget the helpline 1300 041 766. Give us a call with any questions on Tas Timbers. Britain Timbers, Hydra Wood and Wood Solutions as well have the information. I'll just grab Claire back on now and see if we've got any questions or anything you'd like to ask Luke or Nathan.
No questions so far in the webinar chat, but we've got everyone still with us right from the beginning. So I think they've certainly found all of that information really, really helpful. If anybody does have any questions, please feel free to put them up in the webinar chat now, and we can throw to any one of the presenters to answer those for you. But as Mick mentioned, we've got the helpline there so that you can contact Mick at any time through that line to be directed to the relevant supplier for what you're looking for, to talk through ideas and questions that you might have about what's available, what quantities, and what they're suitable for. And then today's webinar recording will also go out through our newsletter, the website and the socials, etc. If you've got others in your team who would value the information. And on the back of these webinars, we're also sort of redoing some of the Tasmanian timber brochures to really showcase that breadth of species that's available and what they can be used for, so that that can be shared amongst your teams as well. And we'll be sure to share that with you all when it comes.
Yes, we looked at things out of the last webinar, didn't we? Like colour palettes and that, and some further work on that so people could actually use these, in design. Again, though, if anyone's after any of these products or want further information, either come to us or come directly to the guys. You know, please, if you think about it, I don't want to name names of other species because that'd be unfair, but Blackwood especially is very comparative with northern New South Wales hardwoods. Yes, it is dearer than Tas oak because of the limited number of it, and as Luke explained to me the other day, and the resource and the soaring is more expensive because of what you get out of it. But it is priced consistently, and it is price competitive in these larger jobs.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nathan, Luke, and Mick, for the presentation today. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us. We hope you will join us again for the next webinar in 3 weeks' time, which you can register through the website, same place that you registered for this one. Lovely.
Thanks, Claire. Thank you, Luke and
Claire.
Nathan.
Thank you, Margaret. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.